So now moving toward the session 2, we have Professor Dr. Zabta Khan Shinwari and Professor Dr. Kaisar Jamil, who will be moderating session 2. I have already introduced both of them, but for those who have just joined us, I can repeat that Professor Dr. Kaisar Jamil is Vice President of ACSC. At the same time, she is head of the genetics department and Bhagwan Mahivur Medical Research Center, India. She has more than 290 papers published in reputed journals and experience in supervising PhD scholars. Her focus is mainly on cancer genetics, particularly SNPs of drug metabolizing genes, gene mechanisms, drug gene interactions, and currently on the role of microRNAs in cancer diagnosis and gene silencing technologies. I welcome you, Professor Dr. Kaisar Jamil.
Thank you.
We have with the second moderator, who is Professor Dr. Zabta Khan Shinwari. He's a UNESCO laureate who specializes in molecular taxonomy and systematics, currently working as Professor Emeritus in Quaid-e-Azam University, Islamabad, Pakistan. He is Chair to the Association of Academies and Societies of Sciences in Asia. He has worked with Pakistan Museum of Natural History, the National Agricultural Research Center, the WWF, and the several reputable research institutes. His prime focus remains preparedness, response, biosafety, surveillance, forecasting, and dual-use education in biotechnology. He authored 9 books and credited 445 publications in impact factor journals and supervised 100 MPhil and PhD scholars. As I know Professor Dr. Zabta Khan Shinwari, he is such a knowledgeable person that he can talk almost every field of life. So I welcome Professor Dr. Zabta Khan. And thank you very much, ACSC, for providing me this opportunity to moderate session 1.
Thank you, Dr. Abino. With permission of Kaisar Jamil, because I'm going to hand it over to her. She is more senior to me. Thank you for your kind word. In a hidden word, you said Jet of all and Master of none or something. Thank you very much, Rubina.
Just nice to make meet you once again, Dr. Shinwari.
Thank you, Professor Kaisar Jamil.
We are missing one-to-one meet, but what to do? We are at least seeing each other.
Not only meet, but a walk. When in the first meeting when I attended, they put me in a hotel, me and you both, just away where they were staying, so that we could have opportunity to walk between the two hotels.
I can't forget those days. You know, it was a wonderful time when we were much younger than before.
Anyway. Over to you, Professor Kaisar Jamil. Kindly take over and introduce the first speaker, and let's invite them to speak.
Okay. Actually, all speakers, you know, there are 1, 2, 4 speakers, and each one will have only 15 minutes each because the time is limited. We are running late in this conference. So let us stick to our timings. And since already their biodatas have been published, I would invite the speakers. You know, the first speaker is Dr. Haibao Xue, who's Director of Business Development, Asia Pacific, Compuscript. And he is going to talk about way out to promote a journal in post-pandemic. It's an interesting topic. So over to you, Dr. Xue.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Thank you for having me. And I would like to have a brief introduction of myself. I'm Haibao, and I'm from China. I'm currently the the director of Compuscript Asia in the in aspect of business development. And we have been doing business in China for about 20 years. And my topic today is about the how to promote a journal in this post-pandemic world. And then most I would like to emphasize first that most of my talk today is focusing on how to do that in China, because I know all of you have massive experience in doing the marketing, and I'm a student in learning it. But in China, because it's such a special place, some things you might not be very familiar with. So I'm going to take a few minutes to share with you my experience. Okay, there are 4 parts of my presentation. The first one is about the social media, and the second one is the virtual conferences, and the third one is how the junior editorial board member can help you, and the fourth one is how Science Open can help you. And the first one is social media. There are many social media tools in China, and the first one and the most popular one is Wechat. I know some of you might heard about this term. It's people say it's very similar to Twitter or Facebook, but in essence, it's quite different in any of those Western or the software, social media softwares. If you look at the Wechat official accounts of those big publishers or the journals, they very much, in my mind, like blogs. So people can post a blog in their accounts, but they have, unlike the blogs in our common sense, the Wechat can only post 1 time a day, unless you are registered in China for the local press. So most of the international publishers have their Wechat accounts, and I would like to share with you a few statistics. In the first quarter of this year, there is a report about the rankings of academic journals that have the account in China. And there are about 14,000 of tweets from 500 journals are mentioned in the social on Wechat, and it comes up with more than 20 million reads. And the top 10 journals were specially reported by those 5,000 Wechat tweets, with about 70% of all the reads. So you can see, as we can imagine, the CNS, the Nature Science Cell, and the JACS, they are the most influential journals that appeared on the Chinese Wechat social media. And how the Chinese official Wechat accounts do the promotion. First of all, you can see this is a very typical Chinese Wechat post. They say, oh, we have a new article published on Nature. We have a new article published on Science, and this is a very typical way of doing the promotion in the Chinese Wechat social media. And in the second quarter, if you look at the Chinese journals, how they are behaving on the Wechat. So there are about 469 influential academic accounts in various disciplines, and 90,000 posts were released, and 1,300 academic journals on the Wechat platform. So if you look at the Chinese, how the Chinese journals performing, the first one is the horticulture research, and the second one is molecular plant, and the third one is the innovation. I'm not sure if you're familiar with those accounts, but they are very influential on the Chinese Wechat social media accounts. And I will show you how our company help those journals to promote those articles. For example, this one is the gut microbes, and we create this post. The first part of the post is talk about the aims and the scope. And the second part is the JCR categories. Third one is the Chinese Academy of Science categories. And then it's about the journal editorial board information. And then it's how many papers published yearly. And then it's about the journal impact factors, trends, and then the self-citation information. And then the last part is about the hottest papers on this journal recently. So all of that combines a full post by the official account, official WeChat account. It might sound difficult for you to understand, but it's really popular in the Chinese WeChat account, WeChat social media. Another social media called Toutiao. Toutiao is one of the largest mobile platforms, content creation, aggregation, and distribution in China. For example, in this account, our company creates. We have the frontiers to promote the content. The title of this it says "Frontiers in Pharmacology: Some Secrets You Definitely Don't Know." And in this article we shared the experience of the review times and the acceptance rate, and how the call for paper how is the call for paper information. So this kind of information is very interesting to the potential authors and readers. This is the third social media called the Sohu. Sohu is very similar to Toutiao, but it has different the target audience. We also set up accounts in this in Sohu. For example, in this title, we say Dr. Wu's team published a research on the Journal of Immunology Research, and by this we help the scientists to promote their research outcome in the very good journal. So we can promote the scientists and the journal at the same time. And Zhihu is very popular in the young people. It is also a place that is full of publishers' accounts. So, for example, this one, we said the first editorial board meeting of this journal is just finished, and who attends that and what's the message that it conveys. And the fifth one is Biomart. Biomart is a sub-brand for the DXY, and DXY is one of the biggest biomedical platforms in China. It has about 5 million registered users. Now in China, everything is has lots of users and registered accounts, and so in this Biomart, we promote a journal information on this platform, saying this is another journal that we publish called the Cardiovascular Innovations and Applications. So by various of social media platforms, we promote the journal content. And the last one is ScienceNet. ScienceNet is the most high-profile and high-quality Chinese scientists blog community. Many famous and top Chinese or Chinese born American or British, they opened the blogs on the ScienceNet, and this one is also very expensive because we're paid to post some information on this. For example, this journal that published by us, we say, oh, okay, biointegration is just been accepted by the chemical American CS Chemical Abstract Services. And the second part I would like to share is the virtual conferences. Because of the COVID-19, we can't, it's very difficult for us to meet face to face. So in the first half year, one of our journal called the Biointegration, we have more than 5 times of virtual conferences, and this virtual conferences has very different purposes and the formats, and the audience includes the editors from different journals, and also it can sometimes facing the potential readers and authors. So all these virtual conferences are promoted by Wechat. For example, this one. The first one is called the Basic and Applied Science Integration and Interdisciplinary in Academic. The second one called the How Do Clinical Researchers as Young Clinicians, and it tells his experience how to do the research. And this one is the Executive Editor-in-Chief, Professor Xue. He tells people how to write and prepare your paper before submission. So from doing all this kind of virtual conferences, we connect with our readers, we build up our scientific communities, and by this way, people can make aware of this journal, because all of the journals are relatively new. And the third part is we put a lot of energy on promoting the junior editorial board members, and we believe besides of the regular board members, the junior editorial board members sometimes can help you a lot, because they are young and very active and enthusiastic, and they want to grow with the journals. And we set up the responsibilities for those junior editorial board members. For example, very similar, not similar, but different from the regular one, is contributing papers to a journal, and serving as a peer reviewer and drafting comments for the selected articles, and recommending the journal to the international conferences and seminars and workshops, and actively participating in academic activities. And at the same time, they can enjoy some benefits. For example, they will have an electronic or the printed letter of appointments. It means a lot to those junior editorial board member, because they need this to put it in their CV to get a promotion or get new funds, and they will be very happy to help the journal by calling for submissions. And at the same time, we will give some benefits. For example, like they can enjoy the free language editing services and free illustration services, such as they can only present a draft. We can help them making a very nice graphic figures. For example, this one is this junior editorial board member. He published a paper with his tutor in this Journal of Infection. As a junior editorial board member, we help him promote this article in our WeChat accounts. So he can his article and himself is getting promoted. The last part is I want to talk to you slightly about Science Open. Science Open, we used this platform in 2017 because it has similar functions with a lot of social media platforms, but it's kind of different. It has Science Open is set up in 2013 and by the Professor Alexander Grossman and Tibu Tashik. And the CEO now is Dr. Stephanie Dawson. It has about 60 million research article records and 23 million authors and many journals. The most important feature of Science Open, I believe, for the journal is the featured connections. In these featured connections, you have many ways to promote your journal. For example, in this journal, it's called the Proceedings of International Ocean Discovery Program. Just a minute. In this collection, you can submit a manuscript on Science Open, and you can see it has the Twitter feed on this landing page. On the detailed Science Open page, you can see how many views and how many references, and you can click this publisher button to get to the actual publisher's side of this article, regardless of license, because it's illegal. Also, if your article is on Science Open, it will be appeared on the same page with many prestigious journals on the same page. Also, you can have many different ways to filter the content.
Professor Haibao, please conclude in a minute or two. You have already consumed your time, please.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. There are a lot of useful statistics on this. So that's the end of my presentation, and I would like to discuss with you if you have any queries or questions. So thank you all.
Thank you very much, Dr. Liu. And I think Dr. Xinwari will take over for the next presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Kasser Jamil and Professor Hab. For you, questions will be in the Q&A session. You please read it, and if you could kindly respond to the people who ask questions,
Okay.
you can read there and respond.